Hi everyone, it's Keren here from tuppencecoloured.co.uk. Thank you very much for joining me. This is what I've been making today. It is a Snowglobe shaker card with added penguin. So stick with me and I'll show you how I made it. I have the Owl Builder punch and I have some scraps of a white card, Whisper White, as you can see. I've got my Owl Builder punch and I've got some scraps of Whisper White, Basic Black and Daffodil Delight, and as you can see I've been chopping out of the Whisper White, and I'm going to cut out 3 owls. Let's start again, shall we? Yes, let's. I have the Owl Builder punch and I have scraps of Whisper White, Daffodil Delight and Basic Black. As you can see I've been using the Whisper White for other things, and I'm going to punch out an owl in each of those colours. So I'm going to punch out all the pieces. And the best advice that I can give to you when you're doing this is to work over a tray, so that all of those little pieces that you punch out are all caught. Okay, so I'm just going to push my white owl and his bits out of the way. I'm going to do a yellow owl. Now I really only want the heart and the shape of the owl himself. I really only want his feet, but you know what, for the purposes of this demonstration we'll punch out the whole thing. And finally we will punch out our owl again out of the Basic Black. There you go. So I'm going to keep all my pieces together on the tray, and I'm going to do some owl assembly work. Okay, to begin with I need a black owl body and a yellow owl body, and if you are of a nervous disposition, look away now, because I'm going to do some surgery on this cutout. Now I'm going to cut out the tufty pieces, the things that look like ears. I don't think they really are ears. And I'm just going to chop them away so that I wind up with something that looks a bit more like that. And I'm also going to take his feet off. I know, how cruel am I, eh? But fear not. Okay, so on the yellow owl I really only want his feet, but just to make it easier for myself to stick things down, I'm just going to cut his bottom off, and I'm going to discard that piece. I have my fine tip glue pen for this. For this part you could use Tombow or any sort of multi-purpose glue, but because I really do need the precision for some other parts of this, then I might as well use it now. Okay, so I'm just going to line that up, so now I have a little black penguin's body with little yellow penguin's feet. And I have a white tummy, so again a little bit of the precision glue on the back there, and just going to stick him down. Now he's starting to look a bit like a penguin, isn't he? That's starting to look something like now. Okay, this is a sticky picker-upper pencil. That part of it there is just sticky enough to pick up little bits of paper. So I want some penguin eyes, and I want a penguin's beak, which is the yellow part. And I can either draw the pupils of his eyes on, or I can stick them on. In this case I'm going to stick them on. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little spot of the precision glue into the centre of his eyeballs there, and I'm just going to pick up the little pieces of black card Come on, just going to nudge that to where I want it. There you go. And the other one. Just goes right to there. And those are going to be his eyes. So again, I'm just going to put a little spot of glue just in the centre of where I want these pieces to go. I'm just going to position his eyes quite carefully. And there we are. And that is really starting to look like a penguin now, isn't it? So one last component, if you like, one last bit of him, and that's going to be his beak, which is this heart-shaped piece here. And there's my little penguin. Now I want him to dry really, really well, so I'm going to put him on one side and come back to him later. This is the stamp set I'm using. It's called Holly Jolly Greetings and it's in the annual catalogue. And I'm going to be using these two stamps, the lovely big snowflake there and this one here, which is a mixture of spots and stars. So I want that to look like snowflakes. I'm going to be using this one first of all. And I've got it already mounted up on my clear block. I've got a 3-inch square of vellum card and Whisper White craft ink. I have already prepared my vellum by going over it with my embossing buddy for a wonder, because usually I forget. And I'm going to begin by lightly inking up my stamp because the Whisper White is quite juicy, and I'm just going to stamp across the background here. Okay. And now that I've done that, I have my my heat and emboss, my sticky embossing powder. I'm going to put that all over the top of my stamping. Move that off to one side just for a moment. And I have my heat tool and I'm going to heat it up. Now I'm going to watch this very, very carefully because as soon as the embossing powder turns clear, I'm going to move away very, very quickly because I don't want to overheat it. Okay, so here we go. And I'm just checking to see that I've got all of them. I think I've got most of them, and it's not critical that I have absolutely all of them, so I'm not going to risk it any further. Now I have my Dazzling Diamond Stampin' Glitter here, and I'm just going to sprinkle that over the heat emboss, and I've got a nice sparkly background. You can see that in some places that I didn't heat it for long enough, but I'm happy with that because this is going to be my background and nobody's going to worry too much about it. I'm going to be using this big snowflake stamp on this piece of Whisper White, which is 3 3/4 inches by 5.5, and I'm using Soft Sky ink, and I'm just going to stamp fairly randomly over the front of the card. here. I've stuck the penguin onto the piece of vellum and I've used Tombow glue because this is now a textured surface and I want to make sure that he is stuck down really, really well. Now I've brought him back in and I'm putting him just on top of my card front just for now, because what I want to do is I want to gauge what size of aperture I want to cut into my front card. And I've also bringing in this piece of card. It's soft suede, and I've cut it using one of the dies from the Everyday Jars framelit set. It's not easy to say. I mean, if I didn't happen to have this set, I could have just cut a strip of the soft suede card. But since I did have it, I thought I might as well use it. Now I want to make sure that I don't chop his feet off when I'm sticking my card down. So this is why I have this here. So I'm just putting that along there, and if I put that like that, so I think that is just about the right size. So this is the one that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to move the penguin out of the way for now, and I'm going to just center this up onto my card, and I have my magnetic platform and my cutting plate here. So I'm just going to center that up as best as I can, and I'm going to pop this through the Big Shot, and I'll be right back with you. And I'm back, and there it is. Got a bit of window sheet here. It's about 3 1/4 inches square. And I'm going to stick it on to the back of the card, and I'm going to use a fast fuse for this, and I'm going to put fast fuse all around the aperture. I'm going to put plenty on because I want it to stick really, really well. It's actually sticking really, really well to me, which wasn't exactly the idea. Okie dokie. So let's pop my little guy in here and see how he's looking. So that's looking pretty good. And I think I will stick this piece on while I have the fast fuse, which doesn't want to play at the moment. It's being a little bit naughty, so I'm just going to flick that out the way. And I'm just going to line this up just so that it covers the bottom of the circle and makes it look a bit like snow globes. Is that straight? Straightish, can't tell. Yeah, okay, that's looking good, isn't it? Okay. Right, so I'll turn this over so that the back is up. And I'm going to bring in my sticky strips, which have walked off for a moment. Here they are. Okay, so I'm going to use one of our lovely new long sticky strips, and I'm going to set it so that it's just inside the rim of the circle, and they're pretty flexible, but I'm just going to be quite gentle and press down to make sure that I've got a firm adhesion. I don't want it to show from the front, but on the other hand, I don't want it to be too far out, because that way it will take up too much, you know, it'll take too much glitter, too much filler when I come to put that in. Okay, now I've got to the end and I'm overlapping by about 1 centimetre there. Okay, and the reason why I'm doing that is that if I do that, it will be much less likely that the filler, the stuff that I put inside, is going to migrate. I'm just going to turn that over, make sure that I can't see anything from the front, and I can't. Now this little scrap that I chopped off, I'm going to stick on to the front of my card. I'm going to put a bit more of the tape on, but I'm not going to cut it just yet. I'm going to cut it. That's not what I mean at all. I'm not going to take the backing off, was what I meant to say, okay? I'm not having a good day today. My brain is not working properly. Brain has decided to have a jolly old day off. Okay, I don't need much more than that there. I don't need much more than that there. And I'm just going to put that piece in there just to give it all some support. Okay, so I'm going to leave that where it is for now, because eventually that is going to be what holds it onto the front of my card, but I want to do this part first. Okay, I'm going to put the filler into the middle of right, I'm ready now to put the shaker part into the front of this card, and I've got my embossing buddy, and I'm just going round the inside of the tape, and I'm doing this, definitely doing this before I take the backing strip off. And the reason why I'm doing this is so that the shaker pieces don't stick to the edge of the tape. Now I have some sequins here, which are just the silver sequin trim, and I'm just pulling the sequins off the strip, which is easier said than done, believe you me. Go. Sorry about that. Oops, that was escaped already. It is the mission in life of shaker pieces to escape from where they're put. And I have a little bit, I've got some of this stuff which is fake snow, and I'm going to use a very, very small amount of this, because when I tried the prototype, I found that very little of this goes quite a long way, especially if it gets loose out of the bag. It goes an amazingly long way if it gets loose out of the bag, believe you me. It's worse than glitter. Okay, so I'm going to push those pieces down towards the bottom, and I'm just going to give my penguin, and I've decided I'm going to call him Peregrine Penguin. So I'm just going to give him a dab over with the embossing buddy as well, just in case he's got any lingering sticky bits on him. And I think I'm ready to go. Now, where is my quirky tool? It's over here. Okay, so I'm going to take the backing off this piece of shaky tape, not this piece. Now this is the point at which I hope that I don't get him to look skew-iff. I hope that I get him nicely centered. So let's push all of that stuff down towards the bottom for a moment. And excuse me, because I'm going to take him and I'm going to look at him from underneath to make sure that he's fairly centered before I press anything down. And I think he's a little bit off center, so I'm just going to move old Peregrine slightly. He needs to come slightly this way. This is the curse of astigmatism, because nothing ever really looks straight to me. Right, I'm going to go and have another look, excuse me. That'll do. I'm going to squish him down good and hard. And now he's ready to go on to the front of my card. There he is, all shaky. And here's my card, my base card. It's a piece of soft sky, which is 4 inches by 4 inches by 11 and a half, and it's folded at 5 3/4. That's what I wanted to say. It's been one of them days. Okay, so now I'm going to take the foam, the backing off of the foam tape pieces on this part of the card on the back. And I'm not bothering with that one because I've got plenty of things to stick. That one is just there giving a little bit of dimension. And there you are. There's my finished card. I added a band of soft sky along the bottom there. It was just an offcut, and it was just about the right width, so I just put a bit of fast fuse on the back of it and just stuck it down. If you were making this as a Christmas card, you could add a greeting, and we've got some very nice ones in the Holly Jolly greetings. But it's the end of July, and I honestly couldn't bring myself to add a Christmas greeting to this card, so I'm going to leave that one to you. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial, and if so, please do come back and visit me again, subscribe to my channel, give me a like, visit my blog or my Facebook page. Details are underneath this video. But in any case, I'm very, very glad to have had your company today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.